what's up? This your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get all access to motivated and inspiring videos on this Fammission Friday. Every Friday, let's get to the podcast. Yo, what's up? This your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast, and today we got a super special guest. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring him to the party and let him introduce himself, and definitely gonna learn something today. How you doing, sir? Go ahead and tell the people your name, where you from, and what you do.
My name is Wil Harris. I'm living on the present coast of Florida, right? And I do personal development, leadership development, right? And one-on-one.
Okay, you say PepsiCo.
PepsiCo, personal development.
Okay. Personal development. So, what got you started on this journey that you on?
Oh man, I gotta go back to 1993 to say that, because I was born in Miami, Florida, and I had two older brothers, and we sold drugs. Once we moved to Ohio when we were young kids. And we were like a lot of kids our age, you know, we grew up shoveling snow to make extra money. We cut grass to make extra money. We raked leaves to make extra money. We were that type of kids. We were hustlers. And back in the 80s, the early 80s, crack hit the scene. And we were from Miami. When we were in Ohio, we had never even heard of crack cocaine. But when we went to Miami back in 1983 for the summer, went over to my cousin's house in the Pork and Bean Projects. The Pork and Bean Projects was on fire with crack, man. And we were selling $5 nickel rocks, man, for my cousin so we can get school clothes for the summer. And I remember my cousin said, man, y'all need to take some of that back with y'all and sell it when you go back and make some money. And so we ended up taking a few rocks with us. But a $5 rock in Miami sold for $20 in Ohio. And then once we found out being natural hustlers, we decided that, you know, this was going to be our way to make money. This was going to be our way to get out of the hood. And we started selling drugs and making more and more money. But nobody told us that we were going to help destroy our communities. And nobody told us that, you know, the people who we respected and who we grew up loving were going to be our customers. And nobody told us that, you know, we grew up during a time where it took a village to raise a community. And crack cocaine took that and flipped it upside down on its head. And it made it where the kids who were selling the drugs and who had the pocket full of money, we became the adults now. And we became the ones who were looked up to at a young age. And that was just turned our community upside down. So I ended up going to prison for drug trafficking. And I ended up getting out, man. And I ended up going back again for drug trafficking. And that second time I went in there for drug trafficking, I said, something got to change in my life. I didn't know what it was. I had a dream when I was in prison that I was speaking to a group of people. I didn't know what I was saying. I just knew they liked what I was saying. And from that moment, I realized that, you know, I need to fight. So when I got out of prison, I got shot. And I still got a bullet in me now. And that's when you make a promise to God, man, you better keep it.
Yeah. And
I realized when I got shot, I had a near-death experience. The bullet went through my hip, it went through my bladder, it went through my stomach, it hit my appendix. They took a part of my they took my appendix out. They took a part of my small intestine out. I died for 7 minutes on the operating table and had a near-death experience. And when I came out of that experience, without going through a lot of detail of that, when I came out of that experience, my whole life changed. Like, I could not go back to being the same person I was after that experience. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. But see, that's how God is. Yeah. Because I was feared in my community. And I'm sure a lot of people in my community are going to end up watching this video, and they'll also let you know. I was feared in my community, man. And when I started talking about my near-death experience, it started getting around. And somebody heard about me speaking about my near-death experience on the corner, and said they were having this Bible study program for youth, and they asked me if I would come and speak, and I said I never spoke to a bunch of kids. They said, well, just speak the way you was talking on the corner. We heard about that near-death experience you had. And I said, okay, cool. So I went there, man, and I walked in. I'm looking at all these Bible kids, and they all looking up at me, and they wondering, I'm a little rough around the edges, what I'm going to talk about. And I just started talking about my life, selling drugs, having a near-death experience, what I saw when I had that near-death experience, and how it changed me. And when I got done speaking, man, those young kids had tears in their eyes, man. They were rubbing on me and touching on me. They just wanted to touch me. So I'm standing there, and I got a group of kids, man, just touching on me and just crying and saying thank you. And I noticed that I got a lot of attention like that when I pull a gun out on a person. But to be able to get that kind of attention from somebody just from the words that were coming out of my mouth. I remember when I was in prison speaking to a lot of people, and I didn't know what I was going to be saying. I knew that it was God speaking through. And so probably a few weeks after that, I got an invitation from an agency to come volunteer just to work with their young kids, because they figured we're trying to work with these bad kids, their vernacular. Trying to work with some of the at-risk kids that not listening. It's not working. We can get that kid, Wil Harris. He's pretty popular. A lot of these kids heard about him already. He's talking about the things that get him to volunteer for our agency, maybe to help our group of kids. So I walked in there, they had about 6 kids in there, and I spoke to them. So the next session that they had the following week, there was like 15 kids. And so I spoke to that group of kids. The next session they had, it was like 28 kids. So they know that the more I spoke, the more kids came around. So the agency eventually ended up hiring me. It was the most money I ever made from a paycheck. Just that, man, they started sending me across the country to different places, Atlantic City, California, just to get these different trainings, because all I was ever talking about was my experiences, me selling drugs and me being shot. And after a while, that story gets old. So started getting trained in self-esteem. And when I got trained in self-esteem, it changed my life and forward. Changed my life in a lot of worry about, a lot of myself about, a lot of hung up. It just wiped that stuff away from one. So I said to myself, if one training can do that, I wonder what other trainers can do. So the director, Miss Beverly Pollard, who was also a relative of mine, gave me a catalog of different trainings. For the summer, when school was out, because I was working, I would go to all these different for the summer. All summer I'd be, and I let me pick out whatever I want. Confidence, I want that one. Anger management, I want that one. Goal setting, I want that. It just went from there on there, man. Every summer I would be different, and I added to the repertoire. So a lot of things that started me, I've been on that of learning ever since I was born. I've constantly been learning every year. So people now discover me on Facebook, but this goes all the way back to
1994.
That's how I got started.
1994, man. I appreciate you, man. Every time I watch one of your videos, I learn something new. So, for the people that's watching, man, can you tell them where they can find you at?
You can find me on Facebook at Wil Harris, 1L. You can find me on YouTube right now at Vera Think on YouTube. I'll definitely be spreading other platforms. I'll be also doing my own personal podcast and things like that. But I'm just trying to outgrow where I already am. Start small. I don't want to grow too quickly, and what I'm doing get away from me. I don't want to grow too quickly and lose my purpose or my mission. So the thing is, the way I do things is the way I like to do things. They're most effective for me. I've been doing them a certain way for a while. I just want to maintain the quality of what I do. I don't want to, succumb to all of the hype, because I never have. I'm not a hype person. I'm all about quality. Like you said, every time you watch one of my videos, you get something from it. That's my purpose. And that's what I'm trying to maintain. I've had people contact me who want to kind of like partner or possibly run my program, so to speak. I just like to be independent. I like to outgrow where I am. And I'm not all about all of the promises that, man, you can reach this many people if I come aboard. Man, you can go here in this amount of time if you come aboard. Everything I've done has been organic. I've done it on my own with the help of God, and I plan to keep it that way. I just want to keep a nice message, a positive message, and I want people to be able to get something from it, because I remember Everybody was snipping something good, and then they cut it and say, "Well, you got to make off and get this or purchase that." And as a person, I didn't want to give you a snippet. I wanted to give people something that would help them or something that's going to be able to feed them. Also, people can come back for my one-on-one coaching, so I do that also.
Oh, okay. So you do a one-on-one class. Cause I be listening to your class, and it sound like you got a group of people there, and I'm like, man, I sound like I need to be in that class.
Oh yeah.
So how did you get the one-on-one class started?
Well, one-on-one class or session, those are, but the session on video, that's basically what I do. That's like my vibe is working with me, working with me, working with youth, working with adults, but all of my videos online that for the
Sorry.
group, so that it's all time. They all are
Is,
person or not,
oh,
but if they, but all of my
is it
other,
cutting out on your end?
I'm
Yeah, I'm
fine.
sorry. I'm sorry. It was cutting out a little bit. So
Okay.
so so you say you work with men, women, and kids.
Yeah, I work with there's not a group or a population I haven't worked with. I've been in the prisons, I've been in the jails, I've been in where abuse shelters, I've been in churches, organizations, keynote speaker, you name it,
Mm,
I've done it. I have my own TED Talk, Innovation of the Mind. You can find it there. So I've been doing this since the 90s. Yeah, it's a
okay.
wealth of information out there and a wealth of resources and things I've done out there. Also, if you want to read my book, it's called The Wicker Diary, and you can get that on Amazon. Wicker Diary by Wil Harris, 1L, and it's all
Okay.
based on actual events. So
Okay.
wear many hats.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I was gonna say you're pretty smart, but I don't believe in smart people. I believe that we just know a little bit more than the next person. But
Hmm.
what kind of books do you read?
Kind of books I read. The number one book for me, man, would be the Bible. That would be the number one book. But it's interesting that you say that I'm pretty smart because I was thinking probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, man, and something came to me, a memory came to me when I was about 8 years old, man. I don't know where this memory, where this happened, man. A voice came into my head, and it asked me what I wanted. Did I want wisdom or riches? When I was 8 years old,
Mm,
and as an 8-year-old kid, I remember I said wisdom. I never forgot that
right.
conversation. And I remember telling it to my grandmother at the time. She was with a group of church women. And my grandmother, when she got around her church friends, would open up her Bible because she could point to any picture in the Bible and I could tell her what the story meant.
Mm,
So she would do that with her friends. And one time she was doing that with her friends. She'll point to the picture. I say, that's Moses. And that's the baby Moses. And his mother let him go because Pharaoh killed the children. And then
mm,
the queen took him in, and I would tell these stories. But this one particular time, I said to her, and God asked me if I wanted wisdom or riches, and I said wisdom. And my grandmother shook her head and said, "No, he didn't. God didn't ask you that. God didn't say that." And I remember all the women sitting around. It was like, "No, that didn't come from God." And so I didn't. I never said it to anybody. I never mentioned it to anybody. But
mm,
it hit me again, man. I had never even really thought about it till about 3 weeks ago. I remember thinking about it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks because my life has been exactly that.
that's
Wisdom. And
right.
I'm thankful for that because the wisdom has gotten me out of a lot of situations. And what that makes me wonder is if a lot of different people who I see in entertainment in life who have a lot of riches, if they were asked the same question. So
Mm,
right. So I think that a lot of what I get, and as far because a lot of people say you're a very smart person, you're a very smart guy. What do you read? What do you follow? What do you what how do you maintain that? And the best thing to say is God for me. But if you want to know like some hard books that I read, like one of the books that kind of changed my life was Becoming Dad. Another book that was very instrumental in my life is the autobiography of Malcolm X. Man, there's so many, man. The
Mm.
the one Becoming Dad is by Leonard Pitts Jr. Another
Okay.
book I read that was very instrumental in my life was The Conspiracy to I can't what is the exact name of it? It's been so long since I read it, but I've read books on body language. I read books
Mm.
on the Four Agreements is another
Mm.
book that's
Yep.
very good. I will tell you this though. I used to brag about reading Machiavelli, The Prince. I used to brag about reading The Laws of Power in Prison and all those different kind of books, them kind of books that people push on you. And I
Mm-hmm.
all of those books. And I'm here to tell every person on who's watching this right now, all those books did were teach me how to be a more negative or violent person. Because the
Mm.
book Machiavelli, The Prince is basically a book about how to seize power and how to maintain power. And
Mm.
a lot of the suggestions that he give you in order to maintain and to seize power are not positive things. So a
Mm.
lot of the stuff we consume and we think that these books are helping us, you'd be better off just getting you a Bible. The Bible,
That's
I
right.
put the Bible over all of those books put together. The Bible gonna give you more on how to live your life and what kind of person to be than any books on power, laws of power, any of the other crap. Because basically, those are books I believe in my heart, which are from the devil. Any book that'll
Mm.
tell you that in order to keep power, kill your enemies, where the Bible says, pray for your enemies. You got a book telling you to do exactly the opposite of what we're supposed to do as human beings. And I
Mm.
remember reading those books and feeling proud of myself, feeling like I was intelligent, I was smart. But a more intelligent person can control his emotions. And
Mm.
the more I learn as I get older, the more I start realizing how much I didn't have it together when I was growing up. I really didn't know. But life is a learning process. As we grow, as we learn, we all learn more, and we all supposedly, hopefully, get better.
Mm. Hey, you ain't never lied, man. You know, some of those books are they take from the Bible and then they just twist it up like it is. It's a power
Mhm.
trip, you know. And back in the days, I used to always, I'm from the streets too. So I was in the streets and it was
Yep.
everything on my mind was money, 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 money. And I had the same thing in my head, like, because we all gods, and God talked to us in certain ways.
Right.
And I asked, I said, you know what? I had to teach myself how to read. I got a couple books out. I done wrote books, and I was like, you know what? All I want is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I got. Still broke.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
I'm happier now. I got a clear spirit.
Right.
I can sleep at night now.
Yes.
The
The, my,
power of understanding.
mhm.
What you called it a paradigm
Paradigm shift.
a paradigm shift. That's what I
Yeah.
had, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So, what is one thing? Well, what is some things that you had to unlearn?
Some things I had to unlearn that my fellow man is not my enemy,
Mm,
and that people that look like me are not against me.
mm, yeah.
Some of the things I had to unlearn that I can't judge women based on the failures of my mother,
Mm,
and that regardless of what my mother went through and what my mom experienced or how she treated me at the time, that she did the best job she could with the information that she had.
at
I
that
had,
time,
I
yes.
had to learn that even though I didn't have a father around, that I still had God hold me in his hand.
Mm,
And I had to recognize that, and I had to understand that. It's easy to sit around whining and crying and complaining because a certain person wasn't there in your life. But if I think about all of the good things that God did for me in my life, I have no reason to be sad or complaining. So there were a
okay.
lot of things I had to unlearn. Basically, I had to unlearn everything I was taught as I grew up, other than the yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. I mean, yeah, good things crept in there, but as far as how to live, I had to relearn that, man. I had to
Mm,
relearn that, I can't destroy my community to make myself better or to better my life or to better my situation. And I also
mm,
had to learn that material and wealth and riches were not a symbol of success. because there's plenty. Man, look, history has taught us that. If history hasn't taught us anything, it has told us that money, riches, material do not make you happy. We got too many people who are famous, entertainers, who are rich, who are having mental breakdowns, who are killing themselves, who are living reckless lives. I mean, money doesn't solve all of your problems. And I had to unlearn that because I was caught up in a situation, my generation, where we were sacrificing our lives in order to gain money. I mean, 50 Cent came out with a whole album, Get Rich or Die Trying. I mean, if you look at today's modern society, they put money and wealth over everything, you know?
Mm,
So that was, I had to unlearn because that was going to be my trip to the grave.
mm,
Money was going to lead me directly to the grave. The way I was living, in order to get money, I mean, I don't care if we were broke, man. We didn't care if we had to go rob somebody. Living like that, living outside of who I am. Because
mhm,
anytime you're living outside of who you are, you're not going to be successful. You might be successful for a short period of time, but long lasting success is when you are authentic and you are your true person. When you live your
right.
life and you don't owe anybody anything. There are no strings attached to me. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have any skeletons in the closet. I done pulled all my skeletons out and I've shown them. I've been doing this
Mm,
since 1994. I've been talking about my mistakes and my problems and the mistakes I made all my life. I don't have any skeletons. I don't
mm,
have anybody come out and expose me about anything. I live an authentic life. And
mm,
I would choose the authentic life over a wealthy life any day. Because a
mm,
lot of the people who are wealthy don't live authentic lives. And I would hate to die with wealth, but I didn't live an authentic life. It's important to me, man, what I leave back. It's important to me what I
yes.
leave on video, what I put on video, what I immortalize. So when I'm gone, people can still watch my videos and get something positive out of them.
Mm,
People can still watch my videos and learn something. People can
mm,
still watch videos and say, you know what? I didn't know that. 20 years from now, you know what? This is the first time I heard that. So I want to leave a legacy of love. I don't want to leave a legacy of disappointment, hurt, and pain. Of course, I don't live the perfect life. I still got people who don't like me. I mean, I
mhm,
still have people who don't have the conversation with me. I still have people who probably would tell you I'm the worst person in the world, probably. I don't know, but I don't worry about that because I can't change
mhm,
people and I can't live my life trying to impress or be all things to everybody.
mm,
So I live my life trying to be the best man I can, to be the best person I can. But in the front of my head is my legacy of what I'm going to leave on this earth when I'm gone, and that's most important to me right now at
mm.
this age.
Yes,
What kind
yes,
of legacy
sir.
am I leaving? So when you see me posting them videos, it's all about the legacy, bro.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
be. I want to be able to help people when my body is no longer on earth.
Yes, man, and I appreciate that, man. You sound like me. That's what I be telling my kids all the time. And they
Respect.
be like, "Yeah, man." And I'm like, "That's what it's all about." I'm like, I used to rap and I used to do the most. And I'm like, I don't want
Mhm.
my grandkids.
Right.
Can you imagine if you seen your great 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 grandfather
Come
and he
on.
was doing something positive
Hmm.
versus doing something negative?
With a middle finger up, smoking a blunt,
Man, you'll be like, "Man, that's where I came from."
sticking the middle finger up, holding a gun in front of them.
Yeah, but when he see you in front of that
Hmm.
whiteboard,
Hmm.
you say, "That's my great great grandfather." Man,
Hmm. Hmm.
you
You
see what
hit.
I'm
You hit.
saying?
Oh, bro, you just hit on something that most people don't even think about because what Facebook is literally is a digital diary.
That's it.
I mean, we do it right now. We get our blood and we send it off, or we go to try to find out our genealogy. Who was our great 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 grandparents, where our background come from that from. Trust me, man. In 100 years from now, 200 years from now, they're gonna be relatives who we have never met, who we will never meet in life, who are gonna be sending money off, who are gonna be paying for your Facebook account,
Mm,
and you might even have six face. They might come back and say, you know what, your grandfather has six Facebook accounts. It's going to
yes.
be such a certain amount of money to get each one of them, and they're going to send out that money and get all six of your Facebook accounts, and they're going to go through all of that material so they can get to know that person who lived 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and they're going to be a lot of people when they look back on that stuff, they're going to realize why they are so messed up 200 years from now.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
right. a digital diary that we are creating every single day. We post when we show our pictures. That's what I think about, bro. When I post a video, when I post a picture, when I post a saying, I think about what will my great, 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 great grandkids or family members say when they see this information when I'm no longer on the earth. You 100% correct, bro.
That's right. So, who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, bro. To be honest with you, man, Malcolm X number one would be somebody I would say who inspired me a lot growing
Okay.
up, coming up. But I would say the number one inspiration would be Jesus. And the only reason I say Jesus would be the number one inspiration for me is because that's the only time I'll cry reading something. Like
Mm,
if I read the Bible and if I start reading some of the stuff that Jesus has said in the Bible, most of the time, it brings me to tears, man. And
mm.
sometimes I gotta close the Bible and just think on what he just said, just to absorb it because it's that powerful to me. So I would say my most valuable influence in life would have to be the things I read about Jesus in the Bible.
Okay. So, what is a scripture that stand out to you, and you say, this right here, this that one, man.
What scripture stands out the most that I would
Yeah.
say this a lot of those, but I would probably say when Jesus said, love your brother as I have loved you.
Mm,
That would stand out a lot. And but at the same time, when I read that scripture and Jesus says, love your brother as I have loved you, the other part of that is you really can't give away what you don't possess. So if I'm gonna treat my brother better, I gotta learn how to love myself first.
that, and I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, how can you treat someone good when we don't even treat ourselves good?
You can't. You can't. You have to start with you first, because if you try to love somebody else and you haven't started with yourself, it's going to be pseudo love, and it's not
Mm,
going to last. That's why people can get in relationships and they start off good and eventually it get messed up. And then they just hop into another relationship and eventually it gets messed up. They hop into another
mhm.
one because you can't give away what you don't possess.
That's right, and that's very true. I used to tell my wife, she's and I talk about the Bible all the time, and I talk about God all the time. And the reason is because when he come back, I'm gonna say we was just talking about you.
Right. That's what's
So
up.
I tell my wife, like, it was a time in my life I was angry, I was frustrated, I used to get mad waking up. I didn't know what to do, and I had a stroke. I was so stressed out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had to love myself. And I should tell her, I say, man, I have to love myself before I can be like, I love you and I could do this. And I love her, but I had to love myself. And we,
Mm-hmm.
we've been together going on 20 years, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
yeah, thank you. And everybody know that I'm a different person now.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't my authentic self. I was entertaining other people demons, and I thought that's the way to go. Like I can go I can go viral right now if I can start going crazy, and you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I'm on. Like you say, if I reach one person, I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely reach me with your knowledge and wisdom and understanding. You made my I sit back on my kids and we watch your videos and they be like, dang, I needed to hear that. I said, I'm telling you, I told y'all, he owns something. He owns something. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about I love what you talk about. You talk about unhealed trauma, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it was one you would oh man, the paradigm that one right there just threw me off. Like I'm like,
Oh yeah.
wow,
That's life changing.
yes,
It's
that's life
life
changing.
changing because you give yourself permission to change. And a
Yes.
lot of times we fear change because we think we're losing something when we change. But in
Mm,
order to upgrade, you have to lose something. You have
yes.
to upgrade. Change is good. I mean, for a
Yes.
whole 2 years, man, back in the 90s, that was my everyday slogan. Change is good. Change is good, because I fought change so long. I was against change, but I started to realize when I changed, I always grew. And I don't
Mm,
mind fear change no more. I don't fear change at this point in my life. And not just that, man, there's a lot of information online. There's a lot of distractions right now. There's a lot of
mm,
things that people are saying, trying to, I guess, get the masses to follow them, or get people to listen to them. And like you said, a lot of times, in order to go viral or to get that attention, you got to do something unbecoming, or you got to do something that's just silly or out there. But those aren't the
yeah.
people I cater to. Those aren't the people I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help the people who want to move different, who want to change, who want to have a paradigm shift. Because every
Mm,
time a person watch one of my videos, you're gonna have a paradigm shift.
yeah. Like, so explain the paradigm shift to the people that's like, what are you talking about? I
Okay.
understand now.
Okay, a paradigm is how we all see the world. You ever seen a kaleidoscope when you were a kid? A
Mm, mm,
kaleidoscope is one of those little toys back in the day. You would look through it and you twist it, and it'll show you these designs, and then you twist it again and it'll show you another design. That was a kaleidoscope. And that's
mm,
what our paradigm is. We all have a different view of the kaleidoscope. We all have a different makeup depending on how we were raised, how we were brought up. That forms your paradigm, how you see the world. If you were
mm,
raised in the church, you're going to look at God differently than somebody who church wasn't important at all in the house.
mm,
If you were raised with manners, you're gonna look at how you treat people a lot differently than someone who grew up watching their mom and dad fuss out the mailman, cuss out the lady at Burger King, trying to fight the man at the ice cream shop. I mean, they're gonna look at people in relationships differently than somebody else. See, but the thing is, you get a break, because no matter how you were raised, no matter what you were exposed to, there's something called the independent will, which
mm,
means that when you're confronted with new information, you have a choice now. You can
mm,
either keep the same paradigm, or you can take in the new information and say, you know what, that sounds better. And you adopt the new information. So now you have a paradigm shift. So when a person who hasn't spoken to you in a year, and they think you're still believing one thing, they hold a conversation with you and they realize you've grown from that. That's a
man.
paradigm. And every time you have a paradigm shift, you grow. You can't grow
Yes.
without a paradigm shift.
Mm, that's deep, man. You know, that's super deep, man. Like, I can't explain it, man. I had to give you flowers, man. I love what you're doing. I
Appreciate
love
you.
the information you're putting out, man. And it's crazy that when we do positive things, we don't get a lot of light shining on us. But trust me, you get the light shined on you. You reaching out for the people that's looking out. You, like I said, you don't know me from Adam, and I'm
Right.
watching your videos. I'm 4 in the morning watching your videos. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I get out the bed, I do my prayer. I don't even late. I stick up. Matter of fact, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What's the difference between praying and meditating?
There really isn't a difference, man. To be honest with you, meditating is just that I'm going to sit here in this place. I'm not going to be distracted by the television. I'm not going to be distracted by my dog, my pet, or anything. I'm going to cut all of that stuff off, and I'm going to take some time for myself. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think on positive things. I'm going to be mindful of my breathing. My how I breathe is important. And I'm going to sit
Mm,
here, and every time a negative thought pops into my head, I'm going to push it right out. And
mm,
every time a negative scenario or situation pops into my head, I'm going to push it right out. Because the more you meditate and you do that, what happens is, in your real life, when negative thoughts begin to pop into your head, you don't even have to think about it. You just push it out of your head.
mm.
Whereas a person who hasn't done meditation, hasn't practiced their breathing exercises, one comment from the guy at Starbucks, now you pissed off for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as praying, okay, I'm going to take this time right now. I'm going to sit in this room. And you don't necessarily have to be sitting in a room and be quiet and be by yourself. I could be driving down the road and think about God and say, God, I thank you.
Mm.
Thank you, God. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you for taking the time to create me and take your time to uplift me and to teach me. You know, you could be just watering the lawn or cutting the grass or going to the grocery store and you can speak to God and you can pray to God. Whereas meditation is more purposeful and you're just taking some time to block out all negative thoughts and to focus right now on all positivity and all of the good things that you have in your life. And if you do that, the more you do that, the more you begin to create this positive energy within yourself. And the more you do it, repetition is the mother of all skill, the less you
Mm-hmm.
have to practice it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll start becoming a part of you. The same way when we wake up and we're already in a bad mood. The reason we wake up and we're already in a bad mood because the repetition of allowing ourselves to be in a bad mood now is natural. It's a way of life. It's normalized now. But
Mm.
anything that's been learned can be unlearned, and
That's right.
you can rewire yourself with meditation.
That's right. You know, I sum it up with, praying is talking to God and meditating is listening to God. And when I say listening,
Nice. I like that.
sometimes your thought, sometimes God talk to you so quiet. In the devil, they
Oh
talk
yeah.
so quiet,
God is.
you would think it was a
Mm-hmm.
thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's positive, it's God, and if it's negative, you already know. So
Already.
it's all in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's the way we
Yes.
how we look at things.
Yes.
So
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
yeah,
You got it. Yeah.
let me see. What we got? We had 30 minutes yet? All right, so we got 30 minutes. So I got this thing
Okay.
where I do random questions. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get to that, and then you get to answer it the best way you can. We're gonna have a little fun real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm ready.
You wanna infiltrate the motherfucker.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. I hit the wrong button. Ah, here we go. Go. All right. So first question. What's the first thing you do or think about when you wake up in the morning?
First thing I do or think about when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is thank God that I'm breathing and I'm alive.
Mm,
And I start thinking about what I need to accomplish during the day.
okay. Yeah, give God praise. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a godly
Always.
channel. That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. When was the last time you asked somebody for some help with something personal?
Oh man. Not long ago. Not long ago, man. I asked a family member to do something for me and they took care of something for me that I need to handle. And I was very appreciative. And I'm one of those people, man, that I don't mind asking for help because that's a sign of a strong individual and a strong person. People
That's
who
right.
if it's difficult for them to ask for help are dealing with something.
That's right. So, hmm, what makes you confident?
What makes me confident? What makes me confident is the fact that I know that I'm rooted in God and I'm not rooted in myself or accolades or attention and things like that. If I'm making God happy, that's all I care about. So that's where I get my confidence from. It's not from me or what I do.
Okay, okay. So, what gives you low self-esteem?
What gi- hmm, what gives me low self-esteem? At this point, nothing gives me low self-esteem.
Okay.
No, nothing gives me low self-esteem. I've been dealing with self-esteem since 1994, but sometimes I do get down. I can say that. Sometimes I do feel bad. Sometimes I guess um, if I watch the news too much, that gets me down. So I try to stay away from the news. If something bad happens to a person who I'm associated with or a relative, or if I'm watching television and something bad happens to somebody on TV, man, that can kill my mood or take some energy out of me. But other than that, nothing. Other than TV or things like
Okay. What is your favorite midnight snack?
that. Oh man,
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh. I know.
For
I
real.
know. On the real. All right. So Do you like texting, talking, or FaceTime?
I hate FaceTime. I hate
Okay.
FaceTime. I'd rather talk. I'd rather talk or text. Text is cool if I'm busy, but I'd rather talk on the phone.
Okay. Um, do you know your kid's birthday?
Yeah. hmm Yeah.
Okay.
But you want me to tell you?
Hey, you making it up, man. You know
No.
how men
Okay.
is.
Well, May the 31st for one, and June the 24th for another one.
Okay, okay. Hey, if you can talk to your 16-year-old self at the age you at right now, what would you tell him?
Trust God.
Mm, okay. Mm, all right. What have you learned from a heartbreak?
Mm, what have I lost? Be careful of who you entertain. You ain't
Mm,
responsible for who you attract, but you 100% responsible for who you entertain.
mm, mm. Okay. I have to get hit the horn on that one. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know, you know, but at the same time, hearts don't break, man. I think it's just shaping us. It's gonna make
hmm
us better for the next relationship. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep. Yep.
So it's kind of like when you got your first car, and you might dog it, and then your second car, you be like, you know what? I'm not gonna be trying to do 100 miles per hour. I'm not gonna be burning the gas. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna respect it more. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
If that makes sense. All right, let me see. Who gave you some of the best advice? A person.
Man, person who gave me some of the best advice would be my grandmother when she said, "You don't know what you don't know."
Until you know it. That's my
Come on,
favorite saying.
come on, man.
You don't know what you know until you know it.
Telling you,
Man, I say that so much.
I
Man,
do. Too. I do too.
if I
It
was,
has served me tremendously in life.
man, because I didn't know anything.
hmm
And when this one thing I had to learn that nothing is right or wrong. If it sounds good to you, then it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Until you figure out it ain't good. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? But yeah, you know, because I used to tell my kids, like, I'm gonna ask you this question: what color is the sky?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Florida sky is a whole bunch of colors. It ain't no one color. It's a
Ooh,
whole colors, and it depends on what's going on. Whether we looking at a hurricane, whether it's a sunny day, whether the sun going down, whether it's windy. All those different things affect how the sky look. It's never just all blue or anything.
man, that's God is the man. He's a beautiful artist.
Come on, bro.
Mm.
Come on.
You see how he paint these skies,
Come
man.
on, bro.
We just moved down here from Minnesota. We've been out here in Florida for like what, 3, 4 years now? 4? Yeah, like 4 years. And I'm looking at the sun, and I'm looking at I'm looking at the sky. I'm like,
Come on.
yo, this is crazy.
Bro, I'm like a 3 minute. Well, let me be honest. I'm about a 10-minute drive from the beach.
Mm,
10-minute drive from the beach. I mean, in 10 minutes,
mm, mm, mm.
I'm at the edge of it. It never gets boring. I'm talking about I can spend hours out there looking at that water, meditating, thinking on God, and just looking at how wonderful and how great and how powerful He is. Just that alone is enough for me to rejuvenate me.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. I know you're gonna say the Bible, so we're gonna exclude the Bible. But in the last 90 days, how many books or audio books you checked out?
Probably no audiobooks, but I've done about, you said 30 days, we talking?
90 days.
90 days? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, within the last 90 days, I've probably done about 13 different trainings on
Mm.
different topics, personal development topics that I will be presenting and making new videos on. So I'm constantly training online. I'm ordering stuff and things like that. So audios, as far as tapes and things like that. Have you ever done? Have you ever tried How to Build High Self-Esteem by Brian Tracy? He actually has a audio version of it where you can get cassettes or you can even get like the CDs. But I would recommend it to you if you never tried it, or either recommend it Christmas present for your children. But
Yeah,
it's a training that will change a person's life.
yeah.
Brian, How to Build High Self-Esteem.
How to build high self-esteem. I'm gonna check that out because
He's the
that's
best. He's the best.
yeah, that's all I do is I want to learn something I didn't know yesterday. Every
Right.
day I'm gonna learn something. You got it? What's his name?
Brian Tracy.
Brian Tracy. Oh yeah, and where can we find your audio? I mean, you'll find your book on Amazon again, where you can look it
Yeah,
up.
Amazon. It's called The Wicker Diary by Wil Harris, 1L, and it's on Amazon. And it's
Okay.
based on actual events. It took me 4 years to research that book before I even wrote anything.
You just popped it up. Okay,
Oh,
let's
there
see.
it is. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There be your book right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, pop it up again. Pop it up again
Man.
for the people
Very
out
much.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all go out there and get his book, man. Y'all get here and support Will, man, because this guy, he got something going on, man. And
Appreciate
if I learned in these last, I don't know how long I've been watching your videos, at least about 3 months. And if he dropping some knowledge in this book, like he been dropping on these classes, check it out. I stamp it. Yes,
That's
indeed.
what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on, man. You even got some shoes, yo.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yo. Yeah, what's going on with them, man? Tell me a little bit about them joints right there.
Oh man. See, the thing about those shoes that I designed is that I wanted to do like a series of shoes, but the quality that I use to create the shoe, I have to sell it at a high price. And
Okay.
I'm just not known enough to be able to pull that off at this point. But that's one of my goals,
Yeah,
to get into the shoe, because I'm in the shoes and casual shoes and comfortable shoes, and I like to design my own shoes. So I've been messing around with it. I put it out there, kind of advertised that I sold a few of them, but I understand that if I market the kind of shoes out, it's going to be to a clientele who has that kind of money that they can pay for shoes, spend that kind of money on shoes, because they run like almost $275 to $300 a pair.
yeah. I mean, if they, man, they'll buy them. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about
Oh, I know they are. That's
yeah,
just one of my projects that's on the back burner while I work on some other things.
yeah, man. They gonna support you. Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
Do you have a vision board in your home?
My mind,
Mm,
my brain, I keep it all up there, man. So I know there are people who do that, and those people are visual learners.
that's me right there.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I found out that I'm a visual learner. Because I was struggling in school, and
Right.
I used to always say, "Man, I can't read, and I can't, what I'm saying, this and that." But that's not true. What it is
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't taught properly.
Right.
So as I get older, and I found out I'm a visual learner, I write everything down.
Hmm.
And at the end of the night or in the morning, check it out, I read it. I had to teach myself how to read,
Hmm.
write everything. I mean, I was reborn again. I had a stroke. I couldn't lift a fork up. I had to start all the way over.
Wow.
And that's what stress to get you.
Yeah, it
And
will. Yeah.
and a lot of people say, "Man, Money, you changed." And I tell them, "I'm glad you noticed."
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. Change is not a bad thing. Everything changed. Nothing stayed the same.
Hmm.
You
Right.
know, and since I've been away for a couple of years from my hometown, like over 10 years or better, you know, sometimes when my friends talk to me like I'm still that same person. And
Right. Because they're still the same person.
yeah, man, and they get frustrated, and I'll be like, "Yo, man,
Hmm.
it ain't the same no more. I still love y'all, but
Hmm.
times change." All right, let me
Hmm.
see. Let me get a couple more questions. I got a question for you. If you had a 30-minute interview and the interview is with God and you get to ask him one question, what would that question be?
Man, that's difficult because I've already had a near death experience.
Mm-hmm.
And with that near death experience, I didn't go into details about it, but I know there's something waiting when we leave here. I know that we all are going to have an experience. I know we all are going to leave our body once, um, upon our death. I know that's going to happen. That's not something that is a maybe for me. That's a
Mm-hmm.
definite for me. So I wouldn't ask God anything in 30 minutes. I guess I already feel like I'm on my purpose, and I've already have made my promise to God that as long as I'm breathing, that I'm gonna do everything I can to try to help somebody else. So at this point in life, it's not questioning God. It's about, if I guess if I was to ask him a question, I'll probably ask him if I'm doing the right thing, or if he's happy with me, something like that. But far as like, can you answer this major question for me? That question already been answered for me
Okay.
when I had my near death experience.
Okay. So in that same 30 minutes, and God asks you a question, and his question is, how did you like it in heaven? How would you respond?
Well, when I had my near death experience, man, and I popped out of the top of my head, that was probably the best I ever felt in my life. As far as you feel like this overwhelming feeling of love, you feel like all of the pain and everything you ever experienced on earth, you know, you don't really understand it. But not just that, I felt there was a light behind me when I had my near death experience, and it was kind of beckoning for me to turn around, and I wouldn't turn around. And I was watching myself on the table as they were operating on me, and I was concentrating on that, even though it didn't even look like me. I remember looking at it, but there was like this light behind me, and it was trying to get me to turn around. And then, like in a blink of an eye, I woke up in the intensive care unit. So I guess my thing to God, as far as what I would say to God, or if He say, "How did I like heaven?" And I hope it don't sound crazy, but I can't wait to get back. That's probably what I would say.
I mean, I asked that question like, how do you like it in heaven? Because, uh, he made this world and how heaven on earth. And I believe that heaven is a state of mind, right? Just think about kids. Kids don't know nothing about the news. They don't know nothing. They don't have. That is pure joy when you
Hmm.
see a kid.
Yep.
And we was there at one time.
Yep.
And when we get older, we start having those, what they call it, when the old folks start losing memory, dementia. They like kids again.
Hmm.
And we
Hmm.
don't understand them, but they in a state of mind that it's like a kid. They don't have no worries. They ain't worried about no bills. They don't even understand it. So that's how I feel. I feel like uh, heaven is a state of mind.
Right.
When you
Right. Right. Hmm.
so hey, I got a question because you talk about God a lot, and I like it. I like it. But I got a question because you talk about you was hustling and doing your thing. So my question is, what do you think drug dealers pray for?
Knowledge or a way out, because I think that a lot of people who sell drugs, it's a way of convenience. People who sell drugs didn't get there overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, probably been dealing with a lot of trauma in their lives, particularly if you grew up in the hood. I'm just speaking specifically to people who grew up in the hood, because you don't necessarily have to grow up in the hood to have a terrible childhood.
Mm,
But I'm just speaking about my upbringing. A lot of us grew up, even though we had yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no, no sir, there was still a lot of negative things that surrounded us. I think drug dealers, I think they want to quit or they want a better way. They just don't know how to attain it. I think even when I was out there, man, I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to be a good person. But Boys in the Hood, man, some of that rap music had a strong influence, man. And it was
Yes,
like, yo,
sir.
I don't want to look like a punk either. And I had to change the way I thought. Like, you really, following behind them or being led by that's really what a punk is. See, 'cause if you really a man and if you really true to yourself, you're gonna be who you are. And
Mm,
regardless of who don't like it, forget about them, because all of the people who really love you are going to support you changing into a better person. I don't have to pull out guns to be tough, and I don't have to sell dope to have an edge about me. That I had to learn, basically, man, that carrying myself the right way and living a positive life is all up to me. It has nothing to do with
mm,
nobody else. It has nothing to do with my upbringing. I can't blame nobody. I can't blame the fact that I ain't have a dad. I had to let go of all that stuff and realize you a grown man and you need to carry yourself that way.
that's
So
right.
that was what changed me.
Okay. Yeah. People, I look at it as people that's in the hood, they in survival mode. Cause I'm from the south side of Chicago, and I was
Whoa.
in that. I was in a yeah. I was in
So
that. And
because
so yeah,
drill
I
music
know.
is growing in Chicago right now.
Yeah. So I know it's a survival mode, and then
Mm-hmm.
I look at it as it's a sickness too. Like people
Mm-hmm.
people don't know they sick until they go to the doctor.
You you right, bro.
So yeah, it's a sickness. And
Yeah.
I learned that because I'm in Florida now and I'm away from the chaos. And I'm like,
Now you can see it.
yeah, I can see it now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's my choice. I can go find the hood right now. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I can go find the hood and go hang out with the guys and go, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
that's my choice.
Right.
See, when I was raised in the hood, it wasn't my choice. I had to survive there.
Right.
So, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Good. Good point.
Yeah, so I had to survive that. So I don't even judge them because I know
Right.
they're in survival mode.
Right. I
You
don't
know
either.
what I'm saying?
I
Yeah,
don't
so
either.
I know they're in survival mode. And it was something else you said and I wanted to touch on. I forgot that quick. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Hey, if you can change one thing in the world, what would you want to change?
If I could change one thing in the world, what would it be? I would change the way the wealthy, how 2% of the population holds so much of the wealth. I would change that, man. That's
Mm,
that's 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 horrible, man. We got kids who don't have clean drinking water, and we have people who just live excessively and
mm,
waste stuff. So I would change that. If I could change something in the world, the way the wealth is distributed around the world.
okay, okay. What is a quote? What is a quote that you try to live by?
A quote by Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, man, I've read about 6 different books on him, man. There was one time I was obsessed with Abraham Lincoln. I go through these stages, man. Like one time I was obsessed with the Civil War. One time I was obsessed with World War II, Vietnam, Abraham Lincoln, Malcolm X. I can just go on a long list. Once I get
Mm,
obsessed with a person, I read about every book I can get my hands on about that subject or that person until I know them inside and out. And Abraham Lincoln has probably one of the best quotes I ever heard. He said that I destroy my enemy when I make them my friend.
mm, mm. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. Hey, what calms you down whenever you get mad or get angry?
What calms me down when I get mad or I get angry?
Yeah.
I try to think about why I'm angry. I mean, I
Mm,
try what exactly is making me mad. And
mm,
if I and usually 90% of the time I can get to the root of what made me mad and why I'm mad. And once I get to the root, 90% of the time I'm good after that. Because I realize
okay.
most of the time I get mad, it's not anything serious at all. And if I can allow myself to continue to get mad, but if I try to process it, I can unravel that thing, and in the center of it is some bull crap.
Mm,
9 out of 10, it's some bull crap.
okay. Um, who was your favorite high school teacher?
My favorite high school teacher would have been I would I Well, I wouldn't have my favorite teacher wouldn't be in high school. My favorite teacher would
Okay,
be
okay. Yes, yes.
my
Who? Yeah, who's
my
your favorite teacher
my
growing up?
element my elementary teacher, Mrs. Lucick. Because
Oh,
like you, I couldn't read, I couldn't write. I was in the second grade. They had they moved me to the first grade, and I couldn't read, I couldn't write. I didn't even know my colors, bro. I
mm,
couldn't tell you what brown was. I couldn't tell you what yellow was.
mm,
Kids were writing their name. I couldn't even write my name because
mm,
we left Miami and moved to Ohio. And when I was in elementary, and they wasn't teaching us nothing in school in Miami. So when I
mm,
got to Ohio, they put me in a classroom of my peers, and these kids were reading out of books. And I was pretending to read because they had us read as groups. And so I was just mouthing words, looking around and pretending. I got away with that probably for like a couple of weeks. And then
mm,
eventually started breaking us down in smaller groups. And then you had to read, put us in a circle, and every person had to take turns reading a passage. And when they
mm,
got to me, they were shocked to find out I couldn't read anything. The teacher said, hold up. She went and got another book, a lesser book. Said, now read this. I couldn't read that. She went and got a book, a lesser book than that, like a Dr. Seuss book, I think. Said, read this. I couldn't
mm,
read that. The teacher picked me up by my arm, led me down the hall, and put me back in a kindergarten class and set me in there. And it went
mm,
right back to class. So what they ended up doing is they put me back in first grade, and they gave me a speech teacher because I also spoke with a lisp. So I had a speech impediment on top of not knowing how to read, and they put me in these different classes. So Mrs. Lucick got her hands on me, man, and she was a mean little feisty white lady, man. But
mm-hmm.
she cared.
That's
She
right.
cared about us, man, and she put in the work with me, man. And because of her, English became my favorite subject. By the sixth grade, I remember by the time I got to the sixth grade, I had wrote a play all by myself with characters and everything. And my
Mm,
teacher, Miss Fisher, at the time, allowed me to pick kids out of my class to be characters in the play. We had rehearsals, and we actually did the play for the class. And so I
mm,
went from knowing how to read and write, not knowing how to spell, not knowing my colors, not knowing how to write my name, to writing my own play in the sixth grade.
mm.
And that's all because of Mrs. Lucick, man. She changed my life.
Man, that's what's up. Hey, that's crazy. We talking about kids. So, what is something that this generation have and they don't take advantage of?
Oh, what do they have that they don't take advantage
Yeah.
of? Freedom. Freedom. Because everything is, so much stuff is digital now. So much stuff is online now. You got access to things. I remember when I was a kid, we had encyclopedias at home. So if I wanted to learn,
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to learn about a wood duck, I had to go and get the encyclopedia and look for the wood duck. And I had to get
Mm-hmm.
information from the encyclopedia. I had to read it, and then I had to remember it. Or if I didn't remember it, I had to write it down. And if I wrote it down, I had to go back to it later, actually find the paperwork. Whereas now, you got a computer, a mini computer in your pocket. All you have to do is look up wood duck. A lot of these young people, they use that technology and that access for the wrong reasons instead of
Mm,
using it to better themselves and to learn.
mm. One time I heard someone say, I make we make millions of dollars off this thing right here. This
Hmm.
thing right here, this is like the computer. This
Yeah,
thing can fire a rocket.
yeah.
This thing can make you $1 million.
Hmm.
And I said, I will never look at my phone the same again. So I don't look at it for entertainment. Everything is all learning thing. I like, and maybe because I struggled with learning since I was when I was young. You know what I'm saying? So now
Right,
that
right.
I got the knowledge and wisdom, understanding, and the phones got, you can talk to it and it write
Yeah,
down stuff and
yeah.
all that. Man, I wrote books and everything, and they like, man, how can you do all this? I'm like, it's a smartphone,
Right.
but the owners are dummies.
Hmm.
That's crazy. You
Yeah,
know?
they use it to look up gossip, look at it to play
Yeah.
video, play music, or to keep up with your favorite entertainer or your favorite star. And all of that stuff is just a distraction from your real life and your own life. You need to put time into, I mean, nothing wrong with following entertainers and stars and things like that,
No.
but you're not supposed to idolize anybody.
You can't blame it on the distraction. You gotta get smart on your focus. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be strong on
Yeah.
your focus on stuff. What is what is what is one thing most people don't know about you?
Well, most people don't know I had a near death experience. Most people don't know that when I was younger, I used to sell drugs. Most people don't know that, I used to live a pretty violent life. I was very angry as a young man.
Mm,
Um, I was molested as a kid, as a 3 and 4 year old by a babysitter, and that
mm,
affected me a lot growing up because I blocked it out of my head. I mean, I totally blocked it out. I didn't even remember it, but subconsciously, it must have been affecting me because I was always fighting, and I never
yeah.
understood. Like principal would get me in the office and be like, "What is your problem? What is wrong with you? How can we help you?" And I never knew what to say. Like I didn't know. I'm like I don't know. And then I remember I had to get a driver's license. Well, I wanted to get my driver's license, and my mom used to keep all of our important papers in a closet in a box. And I remember when she wasn't home one day, I went in the closet in the box, and I'm pulling out all these old pictures and documents, looking for my birth certificate and my social security card. And I found this picture of me when I was in Miami in sixth grade, and I'm not sixth grade, but kindergarten. And I remember looking at the picture, man, and I didn't even recognize myself, man. It looked like an African kid over there in Africa, man, who was in a famine.
Mm,
And looking at that picture, man, and to look at yourself and not recognize yourself, man, is a troubling experience. I
mm.
have to say. But when only reason I knew it was me because I recognized my eyes. And then when I finally realized it was me, I'm looking at this picture like, when did this happen? What? And I remember this had to be when I was living in Miami with my granddad when I was a little kid, and then all of the memories of me being molested came back like a ton of bricks, just dropped
Mm,
on me. Everything that happened, I remembered it like all of a sudden, and I had forgotten about it most of my life. And I suppressed it for like the next maybe 5 years. Every time I think about it, I would stuff that thought like, ain't no way in the world. I actually hated myself. I
mm,
hated myself, man, because I was like, how could you let that happen to you? How can you let somebody take advantage of you like that, man? That don't make no sense. So I was disappointed in myself. I was mad at myself. I was angry that something like that would happen to me. And I remember my sons were sitting in front of me. They were playing a little video game. They were all into it. And my oldest son had to be about maybe 5. He was older than I was when it was going on. And I remember looking at him, and that thought popped into my head. And I was looking at my son like there's nothing at 5 years old he could have done to stop
yeah.
that older adult from taking advantage of him. And I realized that, and I realized that it wasn't my fault. It was the fault of the people who were responsible for me at the time. They should have
Mhm.
prevented it. And it lifted a brick off of my chest, man. I mean, it delivered me to the point where I didn't hate myself anymore. And then the first time I spoke up, I still didn't talk about it though. I
Yeah.
still, I was still kind of ashamed. But the first time I talked about it, man, was probably about 5 years ago when I was doing a group, and so many men came up to me saying, "You know what, man? Same thing happened to me when I was a kid. I was molested, and you talking about that has helped me. Now I feel better." And that's the only reason I even talk about it, because it don't hold me back anymore. I don't feel ashamed about it anymore. It doesn't hurt me anymore. I don't hold anger towards the person who did it anymore. It's not like a handicap or a crutch in my life anymore. So now when I speak about it, it's only because I hope it helps somebody else. But that's what most people would never ever realize about me or know about me.
Yeah. Some people will take it to the grave, man.
Yeah, bro,
So,
I know. That kills your mental health. It
yeah,
affects your mental health.
yes, it do. Um, they say you can tell a lot about a person by the music they listen to and looking in their shopping cart.
Hmm.
So, what kind of music do you listen to?
Old school, bro. I'm old
Mm,
school. I'm some Temptation. I got like my retro, where I listen to a lot of Sam Cooke, a lot of the Temptations, that genre. And then I got my other genre where I go back and I got like my Marvin Gaye. I got
okay.
like people like that. Like, and so I got different versions, and then I got like some Rick James. I get down with some of that too. So,
Okay, okay.
I'm mostly old school. I don't know a lot of the new songs or the new rappers or the new. I don't listen to none of the modern day stuff. I hate to say it. I mean, I really don't hate to say it, man,
I
because
know.
it just don't cater to me. But if
I
I'm
know.
in my car or I got a playlist, it's usually either some old school, some jazz, or some rap that's old school rap that I can listen to.
Yeah. You know, so I got this question. If you was on a stranded island and you only had 3 albums to
Mm,
listen to,
mm.
what would be them 3 albums?
Gotta have Sam Cooke.
Sam
Flat
Cooke. Ooh, okay.
gotta have Sam Cooke. Gotta give me some Marvin Gaye.
Marvin,
Uh,
okay.
what else I'm gonna need? Give me some Tupac.
So Tupac, I'm gonna say you gotta hit me with some young stuff because man, you look like you're about 37, man.
Yeah, I just turned 53 on the 24th.
53. Okay, man. That's what's up. He looking good.
That's another thing people don't know
Mm-hmm.
about me. They don't know my age.
Y'all know you well. They know now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right, man. So I know you busy, man. We've been chopping it up, man. I can talk to you all day, man.
Hey, it's
We
been a
done
pleasure.
already we done already did the hour of power, man. We like
That's
11
what's up.
minutes over.
That's what's
Uh,
up.
let me
We did
see.
it for the people.
Yeah, we did it for the people, man. So, is there anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Send a shout out to my mother. Send a shout out to my brother Coop and my brother Andre. Send a shout out to my family in Warren, Ohio, and friends in Warren, Ohio. Just Warren, Ohio, period. And all my family in Miami, Florida, and all of my family that's on the Treasure Coast, and all my supporters, everybody who support my material. I want to shout out to you and Fammission Podcast for inviting me out here and to speak about these topics. So, and my sons, I don't know if I said them or not, but I definitely want to shout out my sons. And that's it. If I forgot
Okay.
anybody, I apologize.
All right. All right. So yeah, your son. So I got one more question, man.
Okay.
What kind of father you think you are?
Hmm. I've
I
always
know.
was I was always taught that some things aren't for you to say.
Mm,
But I also believe in being authentic. And I was the kind of father, I was there.
mm,
And I have some regrets. I have some regrets, man. I think that when I was raising my sons, that there was this wedge between their mom and myself. And I wish that I wouldn't have allowed that wedge to stay there because I had that attitude like I don't have to make up with nobody, as long as I
mm,
do my job, as long as I'm a good person, as long as I live my life. But what I probably should have did if I could go back in the time, I would try to remove that wedge because I felt like as long as I got a good relationship with my sons, I don't have to concentrate on her. But the thing is, you have to understand that that's still their mother, and that tension between you and her is going to affect them. And that's
mm,
what I didn't realize is that the tension between, even though we weren't fighting and, that kind of physical like that, but just that we don't like each other thing. And I think that I allowed that to remain for too long.
mm,
So I think I was there for my sons, taught them everything I knew, and I changed my life for my sons. That was
mm.
one of the reasons why I changed my life, also because I didn't want them to see me out there selling dope and going to prison all the time.
That's
You
right.
know, they're pretty stable right now, as far as their personal lives. I wish that we talk more often than we do, but those are things we're working on.
Okay, okay. I know I said that was the last question, but man, you keep hitting me, man. So one, I got another. Cause this is getting good. This is good. What kind of advice can you give to the youth or young kids that's having kids that have kids already?
What can I give the advice to young kids who have kids already? The
Yeah.
best advice I would give them is to do your best and to make sacrifices for your kids, to take the time to explain to your kids. Don't just give them answers to it, but actually explain to them and understand that the things that you are doing now are the things that is going to shape their mind and their mentality later on in life. So be aware of what you teach them, what you say to them out of anger, because certain things they might never forget.
Mm,
So it's important. These kids are important, and what we say to them is important. How we treat them is important. Their feelings are important. Their emotions are important. Treat them like a person,
mm,
just a little person who's going to grow up into an adult. So do your best to teach them and to be patient with them and to give them all of the, even when they're wrong, man, even when
mm,
they make mistakes, even when they fall short, you have to be sort of a God figure in their life. And
mm.
that's what it is, because that's how they look at you. And the thing about God is that he always forgives us.
That's
He
right.
always comforts us. He always lets us know that it's going to be better. So the thing about our children is that we can't allow anything that they do or say to drive a wedge between them and us, that we got to forgive them because they're children and they're growing up. And the Bible says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I thought, I reasoned as a child, and it goes on and on. But when I became a man, I put aside childish things. So as
Things.
long as they're children, allow them to make mistakes, allow them to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. Yeah, correct them, but don't be too hard on them, and let them understand that this is normal. You're learning and you're evolving and you're
Hmm.
learning. So this is where you want to make the mistakes at home with me. So when you
That's
get
right.
out into the world, you don't have to worry about making no mistakes. This is your testing ground.
Yes, I tell my kids all the time. I say, ain't nothing perfect in this world, man.
Come on.
I don't know. They say practice make perfect. No, I say practice make improvement. I say
Mm-hmm.
because I teach my kids how to drive, and I say, well, you know how you learn how to drive when you got in the car with so many buttons you ain't know. Now y'all driving with the radio, y'all doing.
Mm-hmm.
I say that's how life is. You're gonna be frustrated. It's gonna be difficult. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be looking sad. You're gonna don't know, confused. Don't know what you're doing. Sooner or later you'll get it,
Right.
you know. And I tell people like, as a father, you want to give your kids something that they can brag on you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like we brag
Yeah.
on our Father, Father
Mm-hmm.
God,
Mm-hmm.
kids got to brag on us. So
Yep.
yeah, man. Oh, Mr. Wil Harrison, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Spending this
My pleasure.
hour with your boy.
My pleasure, man. This has been really good, man. You asked some real thought-provoking questions. I had to stop and think a few times. So this has
Yeah,
been real good, bro. We got to do
yeah.
this again one day.
Oh, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. So, final question:
Okay.
who would you like to see on the future Fammission Podcast?
Who would I like to see on the future Fammission Podcast? Who would I like to see on the next Fammission Podcast?
Yeah,
See if you see
anybody.
if, see if you can get Steve Harvey on here.
Woo, Steve Harvey. We
That'd be a
need you,
good one. That'd
Steve
be good.
Harvey.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey. We need you
Yep.
on here, man. I got the smile and the ball head. We're gonna be looking like
Yep.
Uncle and nephew up in this joint.
Yep. I see it already, bro. Get Steve Harvey on here.
Yes, yes, man. I appreciate you, man. I have to give you flowers again, man. I appreciate you, and don't stop what you're doing, man.
I won't.
You know,
I won't.
and and I know you say you think about everything you put. That's what it was. You say I got everything in my head. Uh, I heard someone said, the reason you want to write things down. Don't use your brain as a file cabinet, because have you ever said, "Oh, that's what I forgot what I."
Well, I'm more of a say you're a visual learner.
Yes.
I learn by hearing
Mm,
oftentimes. So I like to hear, but also writing things down helps reinforce what I'm
mm,
learning. So
that's right.
if you notice, I always write my material on my board.
That's
And
right.
because if I don't write it on my board, I'm going to forget something.
That's right.
If
That's
I
what I'm
don't
saying.
if I don't write it on that board, it's going to be some good points I should have made that I don't make. So I make sure I have something to go by so I can get all of the information out and I'm not just freestyling. So
That's right.
right. So Yeah, writing things down is very important, particularly when it comes to goals. You know, writing your goals down, you're more likely to achieve them if you write your goals down.
That's right.
I mean, those are just facts.
That's facts.
Hmm.
So yeah, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. So
My pleasure, bro.
enjoy the rest of your night. I ain't trying to hold you up because I know you're a busy man, but I appreciate you taking the time because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you was here with me on the Fammission Podcast.
I've been looking forward to it, man. I've been looking
All right.
forward to it ever since we planned it. So I knew we were going to do something really good and get a lot of information out. And anytime you want me to come back, man, just contact me and we'll work something out. But it's been a
All
pleasure.
right.
I love what you're doing, brother. Keep doing it.
Man, I'm you know what? You inspire me. And I love your videos, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
We inspire.
I'm gonna have to. You got to send me your YouTube page because
Okay.
so I can
I'll send
subscribe.
it to
So
you
I
after
can
we
check.
get off.
All
When we
right,
get off, I'll send it to you. I'll send you a
right.
link.
all right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night, man.
Okay, brother. Talk to you
All right.
later.
All right, peace.
Yes.
Yeah, what's up? This your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast, and we just had Wil Harris on here, and he was dropping knowledge. Y'all should go check out his page and check out his YouTube page. I'll be sharing it on my page if y'all watching. And do we got it on the link at the bottom? Yeah, we got it on the bottom. So y'all check him out, man. Show him some love, man, some support, and share this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next Friday. Who we got next Friday? Think we got another. We got Willie. We got Willie the shoe man. You know what I'm saying? He can do his kicks, his custom kicks. So if y'all went the kicks, man, I'll let him. All right, it's your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast, and I'm out. Peace.
We on a mission.